Did you post the new stream from your account? I'll send it to you in Slack.
The new.
Yep. So we're already up and running?
Yeah. We've got our audience is on.
Which page is it going to be on?
Twitter, mine.
All right.
Funk it up.
I think we're back. That cut was like the Nuggets' third quarter. It was like a party had started, and then
Big
the third quarter
quarter
showed. And it was like, no, welcome back. We have no idea what's going on. Our software updated, and we've had nothing but trouble today.
I would say
it's really weird.
like
Never update your computer.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Our software is like very soft still.
It's very soft.
It's the softest of wares.
It is the softest of wear. But we can skip right into it, I guess. I guess I should probably say, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code DNVR. What do you do? Brendan.
T-line got too excited.
Guys, Nikola Jokic ties a career high, and I'm going to start off the top with being a negative Nancy.
No!
The entire DNVR bar groaned, which was full today. It was a great crowd. Groaned when the timeout was called. And I got to say, a little part of me just wanted a 50-piece on Gobert, even though Gobert wasn't even in the game.
Stunt on these hoes.
But
I'm not going to lie. It looked like Yoke was aware and wanted it. It kind of did. I thought he was going for it down the stretch.
I'm telling you guys, man, like you were saying special, Dev, but it's true, man. Like, you know, you guys saw the pregame show. I was nervous for this game, and I think for good reason. Like, a lot of things didn't, you know, I thought Barton played great, Facu played great, Jokic played great, but there were some tense moments. Jazz knocked down 43% of their shots. It wasn't like they didn't play well the way they always do.
They got blown out.
But what happened? Why did they get blown out?
Because the Nuggets hit 3-pointers at a better clip.
Yeah, they shot 64%. And that is a big part of it, let's not lie. But an even bigger part is just that this dude Jokic, man, like we are reminded time and time again that he has other levels, other gears in him. Like that MVP level he plays at, that's the baseline. Then he has the other level he takes it to when the team needs it. And tonight they needed it. And it was incredible. Do you think he goes a little harder against Gobert and the Jazz?
Yeah, and I've been also saying that whenever there's a person that's labeled the stopper or the defensive guy, he decides to go at them to just show them that you guys are regular, you guys are mortal. You guys are regular people that I could just do whatever I want on.
Yeah. It's like when I come in, I'm like, I'm going to be the funny one on the show. And then Brendan and Dev just wreck me the entire time.
I thought this was particularly encouraging because we touched on this show. You know, the numbers going down when everyone else starts to play better, that's natural. But the body language stuff, the leadership stuff, we felt like maybe that was slipping, trending in the wrong direction, playing to the refs more than playing his game. There could not be a better response than to come out in this game. You want to talk about aggressive, 22 in the first, and just none of that stuff. None of that, I'm going to get in my head, play to the refs, you know, get frustrated with my teammates. He led by example with body language and was the best player on the floor from the first second to the last.
Literally the first second. I mean, it was just like right out the gate. I mean, 22 in the first quarter, and they were allowed 22. They were a lot of one-on-one 22, you know. You give it to him. I guess we can go ahead and say the king of the game. There's no question here.
Well, I don't remember having a discussion about
we
this.
did not actually, Kale, you did this once again without even asking us. I don't know.
I don't know, Kale. Thought it was assumptive of you.
Campazzo had some moments, guys, but no. Jokic, 47 points. The funny thing is the rest of the stat line's good, too. 11 rebounds, 5 assists.
I was going to give the king of the game to Brendan.
Thank you.
I just like his vibes in the lounge.
Oh, thanks, man.
I mean, this was one to remember. Like, of the times the Nuggets have played the Jazz, 2 have sucked.
Yep.
1 kind of sucked because they lost, but it was close. The rest have just been bangers, man. And this one goes right in there where it's like, I just want to remember these and soak in them. Let me ask you this another question. We're going to talk more about Jokic, but Vogt. Jazz were on an 11-game win streak. Jazz blew a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets. Jazz have so many times where it's like all eyes on Utah, and then Denver comes in and suns them. Do you think there's any type of, not message, but just any kind of like extra win you get when you beat a team like this in this moment.
I think so, and you do have to wonder if eventually, I mean, Utah competes, and they're a great team, but if eventually there's this mental wall, right? Of like, what do we have to do to beat these guys? And I would have thought they had hit that wall prior to the postseason series, right? Then they come out, they run Denver, and then it happens again, right? So, yeah, I do think there's a sort of mental edge thing here where Denver, they see Utah on the schedule, and they start salivating.
Yeah. What do you think?
So, yes, absolutely. Like, I mean, that's the difference between real sports and esports. No diss on esports, but like, there's a human component to real sports where the Jazz can't stop hitting 3-pointers. But I mean, at a certain point, like, they don't make the big ones. They start to falter. They start to second guess themselves. They're feeling like invincible coming in, and like, the human ego is so fragile, right? Like,
it is very fragile.
I mean, look at me.
Very fragile.
Look at me. I was on top of the world, and then Adam says one negative thing, and I'm in bed for a week. But it's just like, I mean, it's just true. Like, you can't help but just have things creep in to where, you know, like, by all rights, they should have won that game if you look at those numbers, but they crumpled when it mattered.
Dev, here's what I think. I want you to answer to this. Gobert is such a big part of what the Jazz do, and they stop everybody. And it just seems like when they play the Nuggets, they look back at their guy, they look back at their defense back there, you know, the guy that saves them, and they're like, okay, we're missing our cannon. We're missing, like, that thing that makes us who we are. And they know it. Like, all the players just know, like, they like Gobert. Gobert's very useful, but they know, they look over there like, it's Jokic tonight, Gobert's toast.
Are we getting
That's what I think.
Are we getting winner shots?
We are supposed to be getting winner shots eventually.
Yeah, we'll get the winner shots. But back to Jokic and Gobert. Yeah, when your whole identity is this defensive player that's their best player, when you really think about how the Jazz are put together, and then you take that away, what is their identity then?
Right.
Because there's times that you forget that Gobert is a good defender because of how Nikola Jokic did him today. Like, it was, at times I was like, is Gobert even that good? Really? Like, this is
my
the guy?
music right here.
Yeah. This is
my
your
favorite
king?
song.
I know.
This is your king.
Dude, seriously, though, that's how Jokic goes at him. He goes at him as like, oh, you guys aren't going to help? You guys thought Gobert was going to stop me?
one-on-one.
Like, what are you doing?
I mean,
send the help, everybody.
Like, it's just the way that he toys with it. Like, it's just, like, if you're built on Sour Patch Kids and pettiness like I am, like, watching Jokic perform in that way, it's just like every part. Like, I just feel it. My whole body is tingling. I'm just floating above.
I watch Dave Chappelle. I watch Kevin Hart. These are the people that I think are funny. Like, those are the things that I'm into when I go to comedy. I think that Jokic watches Rudy Gobert block everybody at the rim and stop everybody else. And he's like,
just laughs.
This is a good show, man. This guy's bringing it tonight. This guy gets it. Like, those are the things that Jokic is into. Him being able to, like, this is the guy that you guys think can stop me. Those are the comedy things.
And I honestly thought in that fourth quarter, like, when the things were going really poorly for the Nuggets and things got choppy, I made the comment, I'm like, Jokic looks calm, man. Like, I'm nervous, but Jokic looks like he's like, I guess I'm going to have to do that. Like, I guess I'm going to have to go for 50, but that's fine, I will. Yep. And it was like, when I saw that, I was kind of like, all right, they probably got this. Jokic will pull it out.
I'm just, like, how is everybody feeling about the season now, moving forward?
This is it, man. You go 4-1 on that road trip. You come back, you get this win against Utah. Like, look, there are plenty of questions to answer, all that stuff, but it's still Jokic and Murray at the top. Like, there's a mountain's worth of evidence to suggest that this is the team they are, and that what we saw to start the season was the floor or something close to it. Yeah. I mean, I think you have to feel good about the Nuggets right now.
A couple real quick, because I saw a super chat come in, a little house cleaning. We got some not so great feedback on maybe how we were using the super chat. That's fine. Like, we appreciate feedback, good or bad, guys. Always let us know. We're going to, if you have a question or you want to send us a super chat, by all means, we appreciate it. That's always,
well, I mean, we'll answer every super chat.
And we'll answer every super chat at the end of the show. At the end of the show. At the end of the show. We won't interrupt the show. And, shots, we'll probably do something with, like, Fridays and Saturdays. We'll probably have fun with that if there's games on Friday, Saturday. Sunday, guys, I got work to do.
I'll take Adam's shot. What a loser.
Well, whatever. So, anyway, I just want to get that out of the way. We really appreciate when people throw us, a tip, or it's basically a tip is what I understand super chat.
Yeah. Just for clarification, anybody curious, we are literally a business, so
but we also want to be authentic, and we don't want to feel like we're squeezing you.
No, we're not squeezing you, but we do help you keeping us in business.
We'll get to all the super chats at the end of the show.
Yeah, super producer Cal taking notes. If we don't answer before, then we'll get to him then. Yeah, man. So this the Jokic Gobert stuff now is just definitive. I think I have a rule, guys. Tell me if you agree with this. I think it's actually we should write the NBA a letter. Gobert cannot win another Defensive Player of the Year until Jokic wins an MVP. Because if he's the Defensive Player of the Year, then Jokic is clearly the MVP of the league.
And that's just math.
That's just math. Like,
everybody knows that.
Nobody can score on Gobert except for one player. Ergo, he is the best, and he needs
like
to be.
Take all the scratch paper you need. You can bring a calculator in. Like,
what it's worth, I don't think Rudy's on track to get one this year. I mean, Miles Turner, and I think there's a little voter fatigue, so don't worry about it.
You know, I lost count of how many screen assists Gobert had tonight, but I'm sorry, I'm going to keep piling on this guy, and not because, like, you guys know what I said. Like, I want players that are skilled to be good, and Gobert is good. We're clowning on him because our guy's better and just murders him. But, like, he is a good player. But I will say, what did I say pregame? The Jazz hit so many threes because the pressure Gobert puts on the rim. But he's not like Jokic. He's not like most guys that are rim rollers, that Dwight Howard, that can beat you in a bunch of different ways. If you just make him make a B+ difficulty shot, he can't do it. And today he got blocked by the bottom of the rim on a wide open layup.
My God.
That was a great play.
Like, it was a great play.
So embarrassing.
But I honestly think, I don't even think Denver did this accurately.
Kevin Hart could never. He could never come up with material like that.
The Jazz take 47 3-pointers tonight, I believe, which is a lot, and they made 42.6% of them, which is a lot. Like, they did their normal thing, but I still think the game plan on Utah is still make Gobert go for 30. Make him go for 35 because he's not going to make difficult passes. He's not going to make difficult layups. And if he gets dunks, like, that's the only thing you're trying to take away is the dunk. The hard layup, make him make those. Like, he can't make them.
I've been told he's elite at screening and rim running.
Yeah, and blocking shots because he's really long and he's really good.
Today, I think he had
the court well.
I think he had one block shot.
And
today.
then you open up that
Barton.
lead, then you tighten up on the corners a little bit.
Yeah.
You can see those Rudy Gobert dunks. You make him make tough ones, and and a low dose of Donovan Mitchell tonight. By the way, I felt like from you,
dude,
dose.
it was
Very
like a child's aspirin version of.
He was just coming back right from an absence, but nonetheless, I found that noteworthy.
Yeah. So anyway, if when I woke up this morning, someone was like, "Adam, how would you like the day to go?" I'd be like, "Well,
this."
I'd like the Nuggets to blow out the Utah Jazz. I'd like Jokic to thoroughly humiliate Rudy Gobert, and you know what? For good measure, let's tie a career high.
This is like. Am I sleeping?
I know.
Can I wake up? This is exactly what I wanted. Like we circled this game. I don't know if you guys did. I circled this game.
Everyone had this game.
Has anybody heard me proclaim loudly that the Nuggets are back? The Nuggets are back.
I love that.
This is the ultimate measuring stick of that. Like
I was sitting next to Eric tonight, by the way. The Nuggets were back 5 minutes in. The Nuggets were back after the first quarter. The Nuggets were back at halftime.
Guess who was right the whole time?
Yeah.
I've been right. The Nuggets are goddamn back. Like, they figured it out. They have figured out how to play together. They're not just fumbling around out there. Like, they're putting together very competent stretches. And again, this team won 11 games in a row, and we just beat the living.
Yeah. It's always nice, man. And I'm telling you, there's just that something to that Jazz team. You know, they're going to tell them, hey, we got you. You get in a playoff series against Denver. They're going to be like, Gobert, we know you got it, man. We know. But in the back of their mind, they're going to be like, crap, dude.
In the back of his mind, he knows.
We have an offense and a defense, and our defense is broken, so we got to really hit some three-pointers to get this done.
The peak of Gobert's success against Jokic was a series that ended with Jokic hitting a one-on-one series-clinching floater over him for hook.
We should probably talk a little. No, I want to go to the good stuff first before I get to some of the negative stuff. The second guy I want to talk about tonight is going to make the people in the chat upset, but I thought Will Barton tonight was for me the second guy on the build. Look, there was a first guy, then there was a second and a third, like everybody else way down here. But Will Barton starts that first half 5 for 5. And it makes me wonder, there's two things I'd love to see with Jokic before his career's over, preferably sooner rather than later. Jokic surrounded by 4 elite defenders who are all average shooters, or Jokic surrounded by 5 elite shooters who are all average defenders. Like, Denver doesn't quite have either of those two things, but tonight I felt like in that first half we saw because Barton was hitting, because so many guys, Jokic was hitting, because so many guys were hitting, Millsap 2 for 2. You kind of got a taste of like, man, what would Jokic look like, even if the defense wasn't good, if you just surrounded him with shooting? And it turns out he just has a career high every time.
Right.
James Harden, for instance, in Houston Rockets, they geared their entire offense to just surrounding him with shooters because he's a player that gets the ball at all times. All of the attention's on him, and he's a great passer. Nikola Jokic is a great passer that can do a lot of things with the ball, and he also is going to find the open man. So having guys that could knock down their three ball and also play a little bit of defense, it goes a long way, and we got to see that tonight. Will Barton goes 5 of 6 from the three-point line. He was great, especially in the first half. Second half, he kind of calmed down. He started taking the Will Barton shots, but he had already did so much for him early in the game. And also, Barton is a player that just understands he knows what to do around Jokic, and I think that's why he's always in the game. It's not that Barton is great. He's not playing exceptionally well, but he knows how to feed Jokic's ego and also how to give him the ball at the spots that he wants. So that's just a fun look just to see him around guys that can hit shots.
Yeah, the other thing, Barton had 6 assists today. It's not just his shooting. He
had the most assists.
He had more assists than Nikola Jokic.
And he's really patient with those entry passes or the pick and roll. Like a lot of guys, it's not there at first. Jokic isn't holding that position. They just swing the ball. And in the second half, you saw Barton go no, the ball needs to get Jokic. I'm going to hang out here. I'll dribble. I'll create an angle. But the ball's finding the big fella, and I just think Barton has a better sense of that, to Dev's point, than he gets credit for.
They were the number 1 pick and roll duo, famously, that rookie season or sophomore season. One of those two, they know how to play with each other, and him in particular tonight, I thought just had some great passes. The other guy, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's not a coincidence that Nikola Jokic plays 37 minutes and 20 seconds. Will Barton plays 37 minutes and 28 seconds. They kept him on the floor at the same time.
Saying. They're
every single time.
More than Jokic. That sucks.
Maybe this is the way to sell it to Nuggets fans for Barton, because they really don't like Barton to be Barton, when he's on the court, sometimes takes bad shots, but guess what? Jokic makes a lot of shots when Barton is on the court, and it's probably not as much a coincidence as people think. The other guy that I think deserves a huge shout-out tonight is Campazzo. Facundo Campazzo!
We stand a tiny king.
You can call me Facu.
You can call me Facu. He tonight goes 19 minutes. He is a +5. He has 11 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. That stat line doesn't jump off the page, and I'm going to tell you, the first half, little shaky. And then the second half, he gets a wide-open 3 that he airballs at a moment when Denver just needed one shot would have stabilized things, and nobody could hit it. Nobody, except for Jokic. But nobody at that moment was hitting anything. And Campazzo airballs a 3 to the left. And at that very moment, if I was Michael Malone, I'd pull him out, and I'm like, we're going Marcus Howard. Anybody else get in there?
You just cut him.
You cut him.
Off the team.
And this is why a huge hat tip to Michael Malone, because, he goes through this. He sticks with him. And from that point forward, Campazzo, in some ways, won the game for the Nuggets. I know it's crazy to think when Jokic had 47, but they needed somebody to play above themselves for just a short period, and it turns out Campazzo was the guy.
This is the absolute difference between the first part of the season and this part of the season. Jokic was putting up these Herculean efforts every game the first part of the season, and we were losing them because as soon as he left the floor, it just became an unmitigated disaster. We didn't have anybody that could stabilize. Everyone was just sort of running around, not knowing their role. And so just having, Facu Campazzo has been a winner everywhere he's gone, and there's something to that. He just has a stabilizing force about him. He doesn't always make the right play. He's very tiny. We've seen this. But today he looked like the player that we thought we were going to get, which is so heartening.
You said that Malone, it would have been right, or it would have been just something that you should have done, was to take Facu out, especially when things started to go down for him, and then he hits a big shot right after that. Facu played great game, but he was excellent in the second half. He played he was out of his mind in that second half. And he also got the chance to close the Jazz out because he was playing so well. The trust factor, he's in the trust circle. He went over Monte Morris. He went over Monte Morris to close out the game, which shows that Malone is actually feeding the hot hand. It's not like you're just taking him out of the game. He's feeding the person that's doing exactly what they have to do. And Facu did a lot today. 11 points, 5 assists. A lot of those passes just, you don't know how they get there, but they get exactly what they're supposed to do. And
A+ passes. The one to Michael Porter was it looked like a broken play, and he was like, nope, I was luring Gobert. Gobert, the little giant coming out, oh no, I got fooled. And then
I don't hate Gobert, guys. I just,
I do just like him. It's fine. I don't hate him as a person.
Oh no, I hate him
as a person. You're like,
all right.
No, but he also had one to Jokic that was just an incredibly beautiful pass, like a pick and roll pass. Looked like he was going up for a little jump hook.
Oh yeah.
Defense, 2 defenders jump at him, and he lays it to Jokic for a little layup, wide open layup. And
I also thought we saw a little bit of what. I mean, the Nuggets coaching staff was high on Facu as a defender, and it was rough at first in this transition to the NBA. A lot of fouls in the very beginning. A lot of fouls, but he moves his feet, he flies around. effort is not. Sometimes guys just shoot right over the top of Facu, or he picks up a silly foul. But it's a rare moment when he's not in the right place or he's not exerting the appropriate amount of effort. That dude, he plays hard.
Yeah, man. I will say that we talked about the air ball. He got a wide open three, I think, on the very next possession. And it was like,
not a coincidence.
Confidence level 0% from me, but for him 100%. He was just like, I'm open.
I don't know if you remember, I audibly screamed no, and then it went in, and then I had to finish out my no, but then I turned it to a yes.
You need guys like that. Honestly, what it reminded me of is Jokic last game. 0 for 5. You would think anybody else probably stopped shooting. Yoke keep shooting. Campazzo keep shooting. Gotta have that short memory. So huge fun Campazzo game. Let's hit our first break because we got to get some breaks in here. Woo. But on the other side, third quarter strikes again, guys. We have to talk about some of the negative. Also, Gary Harris. MF and a adductor. I've never heard what an adductor was until I followed the Nuggets, and now it's like I just count on 3 adductors.
Gonna make some T-shirts.
Yeah, exactly.
The abductors.
I think there's abductor and adductor, and they're 2 different. This is what I know about adductors now. So.
Breckenridge Brewery is the official beer of DNVR. Get out of the house and check out the ice skating rink in Tubing Hill at Breckenridge's farmhouse in Littleton. $3 to skate with your own skates, $6 for the rental skates.
Gail,
it's family friendly.
You want to grab a winter shots from the thing?
Sign up on their website and head to BreckenridgeBrewery.com to check out hours of operation. Take the family, get out of the house, drink delicious beer, and eat some extremely tasty food while the kiddos stay out of your way and out of your hair. Also, Breck Brew, if you're just looking to try some at home, have you heard about the Mile High City Copper Lager? It's the Denver Nuggets themed beer. As you expect, we drink it a lot here at DNVR Nuggets. If you're not sure where to find it, Google the Breck Beer Locator. It'll tell you where to find what flavor you're looking for, what kind of beer you're looking for, down to a 1/10 of a mile. Check out Breck Brew.
What are you drinking?
Breck Brew. I've got the lager, baby.
Mile High Copper?
No. Just the lager.
Oh, the lager, yeah. The lager. What is it called? Lager? Just lager?
It's called the lager.
The Mile High Cop. No, just the Breckenridge lager.
Yeah.
All right.
Transition now from the damn good beer to the damn good beef. We're talking about Hassel Cattle Company and their Wagyu beef, the official steak of the World Food Championships.
Hassle-free. Haggle-free, too.
The WFC is held in Dallas and has had 1,500 chefs from 45 states and 20 countries competing. It's the Super Bowl of food sports. Hassel Cattle Company, they took it home. Check out HassleCattleCompany.com. Use promo code DNVR10 for 10% off your order. That's DNVR10 for 10% off. Any orders over $200, trying to order that beef in bulk, you get free shipping. So check them out. Tell them we sent you. Let us know what you think, and we promise you will not be disappointed.
How come the marbling hasn't made it into that read yet?
Marbling. I know. There's keywords that we need to really put in there for
Tell about the marbling, people.
You didn't get any beef though, right? So you don't
You're
know.
eating beef.
So you don't actually know about the marbling. You know what? I'm gonna bring you a steak.
Please
I'll
do.
bring you one steak. I have so much. I can barely fit them all in my freezer. I got so many.
I was on that Hawaii trip.
You don't do the ad reads, Dev. I would give you some, but there would be no absolutely.
I'm a part of the company.
But there's no value to me personally if you got to try this delicious steak, dude. Those are big. The winner shot. This is one of the cool things about if you come to the DNVR bar. Is it when the Nuggets win, you get a free shot at the end to celebrate.
freaking do it.
And they're usually like very fruity and not strong, which is the type of shot I like.
It's also one of the cool parts of working at DNVR.
It's also one of the true
This
shots.
is dedicated to our commenters. We love you. We're sorry you have mixed feelings about Will Barton.
It's a long
We're going to
toast.
get through this together. Go Nuggets, we're back!
To the 3 down voters, big ups to all our haters.
Oh, that was like a full drink. I had to take like 2 drinks of that.
The Rocky is so much easier.
So
than
I
that.
see. We must have a doctor in our
That's
midst
gross.
here, guys, because I'm told the.
Adductor.
One of them I had it saved here and then I lost it. One of the adductors or abductors opens the legs.
Yeah.
The other one closes the legs.
Yeah,
That's what the muscles do.
That's how muscles
Do you know
work,
which one's which?
I don't know which one's which. That's what I'm
It
saying.
says
That's what.
adductor moves the leg inward,
Okay.
abductor outward.
There you go. So now you know the Nuggets
So if
tear
that's
all of
wrong,
them.
go ahead and direct your hate at Nick Cathros.
The Nuggets somehow just have a way of destroying everything. So speaking of adductors or abductor, I don't remember which one it was. Speaking of groin strains, Gary Harris, man, no, this is actually. I mean, we're joking and laughing. We're really bringing this down
This
because
is brutal.
Gary has
Yeah.
struggled with this in the past, and it wasn't a minor thing. It wasn't, and we don't know. Adductor strain, it could be like he's had this injury before, so we're being extra cautious.
Right.
It could be that. We don't know. Or it could be that, like, remember the last time Gary became not good again for 2 years, it was because of this. And
I know.
And it sucks because Gary Harris really was sneaky back.
Legitimately trending up, and it wasn't just the finishing at the rim, which is up, the shooting from three, which is up. It's the assists. There's a play to start this game where you go, ooh, Gary off the dribble?
Right.
Gary running a pick and roll?
Yep.
He was playing, and obviously playing great defense. He always does.
Always does. He was trending up, man. And look, again, we don't know timelines yet or whatever.
We don't know anything about it.
But potential overlap of missed games with Gary Harris and PJ Dozier, the defense trending up. I mean, this is bad news.
You got to think. Hopefully that this was just more preventative than anything. Like,
you really got to hope
based
that.
on his history.
Really got to hope
hopefully
that.
felt like a little twinge and they just shut it down. Because you're right. Like this has been the injury that has derailed Gary Harris's progression. Like that has kept him from the player that we all thought he was going to be. It's just like repeated core injuries over and over. So,
yeah, man.
Whatever.
And I think that's the thing that makes it scary because I don't remember a Gary Harris play like where this could have happened.
Right,
It kind of came out of nowhere.
When did it happen?
So a lot of times you can see when something happens, you're like, okay, like it makes sense. But now I don't remember, and it just kind of went out of nowhere. And I'm sure as soon as he got out of the game is when Utah went on their run. Gary Harris is a player that has been up and down. But one thing that we've been seeing is that he has been trending in the right direction. He has been doing a lot of things that he wasn't typically doing, passing the ball. He's a rhythm player with his shot and everything. So hopefully it was preventative like we've been saying.
Yeah. And so I shared this to somebody because people were trolling Barton for somehow today online, like Barton's stinking ruin in the third quarter. And I'm just like, I can't believe this. And I put it out there because people didn't realize the stat, even though I've said this a million times. The Nuggets starting lineup with Will Barton is the third best offensive lineup in the NBA this season. Minimum 50 minutes. And they've played like almost 300 minutes. Like they have a huge, and that's going to go, that was before tonight's game. That's going to go up because the Nuggets were absolutely on fire. They might be number one again. It's a very good chance the Nuggets will be that lineup with Barton and Gary Harris and Paul Millsap, three guys that we think of as like, can we trust them off it? That lineup is going to be number 1, 2, or 3 going into tomorrow. Yep. And, Gary Harris is a part of that. And especially with him starting to knock down shots and being, even more reliable off the drive, this or that, you like it. And I think more than anything, it's continuity. That lineup we first saw debut 4 seasons ago, and now to be here 4 seasons later and having it. The flip side. 3 weeks ago, we're looking at the Nuggets backcourt rotation and we're thinking, there's so many guys. Like, how does Facu even fit in? They don't even need him. Well, ironically, we're only a month and a half into the season, and already we're at a point where we're looking at it and going like, RJ Hampton's probably going to play now. Campazzo's probably going to play 15-plus minutes now. Monte's going to move into a starting role probably. So all of a sudden that Nuggets depth is seeming like it's a necessity.
This is true of every single NBA season.
Every season.
All that we do at the beginning is we fret about who's going to be starting, who's in this, what are the lineups, who's out of the lineups, who's out of the rotation. And it's like no one is out of the rotation. Like somebody will get hurt, somebody will step up to play. Like it's a war of attrition. This plays out over and over again. There's a lot of games. There's a lot of circumstances that come into play. Like so, you just need a bunch of good players, and you need players that are young and not just expecting minutes, like that can stay ready and be on the bench, ready to go, eager to make their mark. I mean, RJ Hampton is absolutely that. I'm a little nervous about just because he's a little bit like overzealous when he gets in. But I think ultimately this is going to be good to be able to give a little bit of a rise, like we talked about before, to the next iteration of the Nuggets, the youth movement, like what comes next, the core of our core, So, and that's what an NBA season. That's why you don't just fast forward to the playoffs. Like, it's a whole. You just see what plays out over all of these games. So we'll see what happens.
Dev, are you wanting to see RJ Hampton more? How would you hope that the lineup sort of adjusts now that looks like two guys might be out?
So the thing is, I don't care to see RJ Hampton like per se. I just think that it answers a lot of questions that a lot of fans and a lot of people wanted to see as far as giving Facu more minutes and what he does with those minutes as a backup. Also, it answers the question of Michael Porter Jr. off of the bench because maybe now that elevates him into the starting role.
Oh, Barton shifts over.
Barton
and you see the shift over from Barton because he's played the 3 guard. I mean, the 3 spot. He played him at different spots. He plays the shooting guard. So I think that answers those type of things. Then you also get to have with them going off of the bench, you get to have the next man up off of the bench. So now R.J. Hampton gets to play with the second unit, and that puts him in a different role where he's not just out there running helter-skelter. He's like a guy that they have to go through and they have to rely on at times. So I think it answers a lot of questions just having Gary out. That also gives him time to rest and then get his body right as well. So there's a lot of other questions that I think is answered when one person goes down, not just particularly Gary Harris, but just anybody.
Do you think this is a good time to move Michael Porter? I mean, look, 2 games in a row now that he has kind of gone into the doghouse. Michael Porter has. And I think, like, fans I know, rightfully so, are nervous about this. I'm nervous about it a little bit, not as much as fans are, but I'm nervous about it a little bit because the truth is Michael Porter's so talented that they need him. They can't keep putting him in the doghouse when he plays bad. And granted, tonight I thought he played really bad in a very key stretch.
But why can't they? Like, can't he just stop playing bad?
Can't who?
Like, it's not about, like, do we punish him if he plays bad? Like, that's the issue.
Well, like Facu tonight.
He needs to stop playing bad.
Through it.
Right.
Well, but
Facu tonight played bad and they stuck with him, and then he played good. That's what
Michael
you're
Porter
saying.
Jr. had no, I'm saying, like, I don't think we should worry about how Malone is handling Michael Porter Jr. Like, to me, in my world, like, Michael Porter Jr. needs to stop putting that on Michael Malone, where he needs to take him out because he is playing poorly. Michael Porter Jr., the last 2 games has come out absolutely on fire, where you're like, yep, yeah, Mike, and then the second half you're like, all right, Mike, what are you doing, Mike? No, Mike.
Oh, they're the mistakes
Mike.
that are like just like, I mean, the one I tweeted this one out, but it was a really tough sequence. You could tell he just wanted to shoot it. Like he doesn't do this too often. I really don't think so. But this was a play where he didn't read the court at all. Jokic wide open, 47 points. Jokic wide open, and he's like, no, I got to get this tough contested fall away. Then goes down on the other end, tries to make a hero rotation that wasn't his rotation to make, and his guy is wide open for a corner and gets a 3. And I don't think Malone pulled him off right after that, but it wasn't long after that. And those are the types of plays that kill you.
But here's the other thing is, I'm sorry, but just quickly, like when Michael Porter Jr. does well, like, he is exalted by this team. Like, they lift him up on the show. Like, he is so praised when he does well. And the other side of that coin is, like, he needs to be put in check when he does poorly. Like, that's just how it works, unfortunately. So, like, I personally have no problem with the management of Michael Porter Jr. I might be in the minority. I mean, this has been a conversation we've had literally every time Michael Porter Jr. has been available to play in NBA games over the last 2 years. But to me, like, I just see, like, he's making a lot fewer mistakes, but, like, he just needs to play better. Like, that's just it.
I hopefully you break it down in, like, you know, your series, The List, because I think a lot of fans think that we just attack Michael Porter Jr. or we place blame on him as being the guy that's just like the scapegoat. Michael Porter Jr., like, he does not shoot bad. He's been, he's been on fire offensively. And
I just think that's what he shoots. I don't even think he's on fire. On fire is like 80%.
Yeah.
55% is normal.
He's not playing bad on offense, and that's what we grade him off of.
Right.
But if you were to just, in the fans' minds, if they just put Will Barton in Michael Porter Jr.'s body, you get to see the mistakes that he does make.
Right.
Because there's a lot of defensive mistakes and just a lot of running around and not knowing where to be on the floor, and that's what, like, really makes it hard for him.
I pointed this out. One of the Nuggets go-to, like, we're bleeding, we need a bucket play, calls for this diagonal screen, like a wedge screen for Jokic to get the ball. Well, they called that play specifically out of a timeout tonight, and Michael Porter didn't run it. And you see Jokic look at him like, dude, you can't blow up a play when we're hemorrhaging points. This is, like, of all times to pay attention. So it's little mistakes like that. But again, I don't want to rag on Michael Porter too hard because I think fans think that we're, like, rooting against him, this or that.
No,
like
irrationally
high on him. But it's just that it's such a weird balance that Malone is in between, like, we're in year 2. You've actually been here for 3 years because you set the bench. You should have been filing things away even then. But you're here in year 2, and we're still having you not know the basic go-to play that we always run when we need a bucket here, or helping out of a weird spot that's so clearly not yours. That being said, Vogt, and this is what I want to ask you.
That's amazing.
Plays 20 minutes tonight as a +8. He makes mistakes left or right, but it's like he's so talented that it's often still a net positive for him. And this is the weird balance of it, is like it's hard to know what you're supposed to do with him.
And weighing these things against each other. And I think the weight is even more difficult for a head coach who is naturally inclined to weigh those little things more heavily, right? And not every -2 is created equal. Like, okay, they just scored because Facu was in the right spot, but they scored over the top of him, or they just scored because Mike literally doesn't know like what day of the week it is. And I just think the latter, I think, if you're probably from a coach's perspective, far more concerning, far more deflating, and so I think that's why it stands out more as well.
And I've talked about this, the plus minus, in addition to it never being like a perfect representation. We've cited probably more than we should, but it's still whatever. But one way that it really doesn't highlight, and I've talked about this a lot, and tonight was a perfect example of it. It happened with Plumlee and Torrey Craig last year. You start the second quarter. Facu picks up 2 quick fouls. Michael Porter picks up 2 quick fouls. You're almost in the bonus. There's 9 minutes to go. Those guys check out of the game. Starters check back into the game, and Utah gets to play more than half of the quarter in the bonus, and they just keep going to the foul line. And who gets penalized for that from a plus minus or a defensive rating standpoint? It's the starters. But we know that anytime a team plays in the bonus, their defensive rating goes through the roof because it's so much easier to score on them.
But again, like, right, but we'll never be able to answer this big question, or maybe we will. Like, what's worth it? What's worth it? Do you play him through it? And so, would you, like, you said maybe you can, but would you? Would you start MPJ now, Barton at the 2, in Harris's absence?
So I've been a person that says, like, trust the process, what you've already been going through. I think that for now, right now,
we say don't skip steps usually, but I mean, whatever you want to say.
That's what you guys say. I listen to it, and I go, and then I say something else. I actually was the one that said trust the process.
Oh, you came up with that?
Not everyone knows that.
Everybody Philly. You guys didn't know that.
We didn't know at all.
But I don't think right now it's a issue for Michael Porter Jr. off of the bench, just because he still does need to learn the plays. He still does need to know his defensive assignments. He still does know how to move, or like need to know how to move around on the floor. You're just not a guy that we're just going to give the ball to and you just go score, and then that's all you have to bring to the team. The Nuggets are not geared towards that. If they were geared towards that, maybe I think it would be okay. But when you have a player like Nikola Jokic, one of the best players in the entire world, you're not the go-to guy, so you have to learn how to fit in and where you should be. So right now, I don't think so until he finally figures it out. So I think that Malone is doing the right thing and like saying, hey, this is how you're going to be the best player that you could possibly be forever. Not just right now because we need these wins. Point. It's like the long view, like just down the road, we're going to need you a lot more than right now when you're just out there scoring. Okay, a lot of players in this league can score. We need you to be the best Michael Porter Jr. that you can be, and I think that bringing him off the bench until he learns it is the right thing.
So start Monte then, would you? Jamal at the 2?
He understands everything.
He does, yeah.
That's a guy that
and then maybe it puts the ball into Campazzo's hands on the second unit more so. And let's be honest, I think that's where Campazzo is going to be most comfortable. I don't think it's a coincidence that he played well after playing so horribly, but getting to close, because there is something of a like. The more, especially for a point guard, the more you're on the court, the more you just get to read how the game is going.
Absolutely.
And so I would be buying from Campazzo stock over the next couple weeks as it appears he's going to.
Campazzo coin,
guys. If we all band together and buy in. To the moon, baby, to the rocket ship. A guy that was also just. It's redundant to keep talking about how reliable he is, but JaMychal Green, man, this guy,
it's stupid.
Tonight he's a plus 11, 9 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. That stat line doesn't tell the story, man.
Nope.
Because some of the shots he hit, some of the rebounds he grabbed, some of the defensive plays he made were like so timely. He's one of those guys where it's like,
Campazzo.
That's really good. Some Campazzo.
Good job. Ice under Adam's fridge.
The ice under Adam's fridge. Very good. My burner accounts are better than me.
Your burner accounts are way better than you.
Way better than me. It's really insulting. Any JaMychal Green note, or is it just like we could just start talking because he's always consistent?
Like exactly what you're saying. Like he hit a 3-pointer that essentially like took the game.
Fourth quarter, first points
on the rocks. Hit the 3-pointer, the first shot of the third quarter or fourth quarter, made it a 15-point game, and it was like, okay, whatever, let's go.
That was the deep breath moment of the game.
Whatever we said about JaMychal Green in the last post game is the same thing.
Just run it back.
Just keep running it back. Rinse, repeat.
I'm just gonna pre-write those player grades every night. JaMychal Green played well. He hit a 3.
They're like he played well against the Bucks.
Wait a second.
Erase.
That's very funny.
Find and replace.
Let's talk about the third quarter blues, because if there is a cloud hanging over the Nuggets, it's that for whatever reason. And it's funny. What's actually ironic about this is I want to see what that starting unit's offensive net rating is or offensive rating is in the first quarters, because in the third quarter it sure seems like it sucks. First and fourth quarters it dominates, but third quarter, man, they go through these cold spells. And I think this one, if it weren't for the history of the Nuggets blowing the third quarter, I would say that this one had more to do with the most frustrating call that is consistently called in the NBA, which is a Mike Conley pump fake. It's not always him. Like every player in the NBA does this, including Nuggets players. Pump fake and then jump 2 feet to the side. It was such an unnatural shooting motion to draw the foul. And the referee on the baseline, for whatever reason, is like, you know what? This is a good time to just get in here.
Like, I don't understand why they can't get rid of this. Like, where you can't just be like, all right, listen, there is the letter of the law and there's the spirit of the law. And like when you watch something like that, you have to just be, as a referee, be like, that's stupid. I can't.
Because you know what sells more than, I really believe this. You know what sells right now in the NBA more than anything? 3-point shooters going off. And they just, we hate this, but part of the reason that the rules are so tailored to the perimeter right now is because it's way more fun for the average viewer to watch Damian Lillard go for 47 or Steph Curry go for 47 than it is for Jokic to go for 47. And I think that the reason that's like that is because then it's so hard. It's like the quarterback. You can't hit the quarterback too hard for safety reasons, partially, but also because we just want our quarterbacks to throw 5,000 yards, baby. We want like 5 touchdowns.
I'm with you, except for that it's the most disruptive part of the sport is to have the whistle blow.
But the auxiliary benefit is that people don't get too close.
They just look. Well, I guess so.
Yeah, you don't close out hard because you gotta. Yeah, you can't guard them.
Really
it's disgusting, but it ruins the game in the moment. And you should think about that, NBA. You're effing up.
And until the refs change that, like the most efficient result of a possession, for any player, is to be fouled on a 3-point shot.
Oh right, yeah.
So why would you not hunt that out until those calls go away?
Yeah, this isn't on Mike Conley. Did we supposed to? Yeah. You know who the real Nuggets killer was tonight? Bogdanovich,
dude,
man.
He just hit another 3, just now.
5 of 10. I'm surprised he was only 5 of 10 here. 8 of 13 from the field overall, 29. Like, he really is a Nuggets killer.
I am so glad he didn't play in that series, dude. Can you imagine?
You know what's funny? Tonight's game, Bogdanovich and Barton. X Factors.
Right. Oh yeah,
neither one of them was in it last year.
The BB game, baby.
Big
BVB.
Bill Barton and Bogdan or Bojan Bogdanovic.
Bill Barton.
Third quarters though. What's our level of concern for this third quarter? Whatever it is.
Big, because it's a. You pointed out tonight's can be explained, but this is a pattern, right? And is it does it seem like energy and a mental approach to you guys? Like I don't know. They're doing everything right to close those second quarters of late. All they have to do is play great for 5 minutes out of the gate in the second half, and this game's over. And it just seems to me like they come out kind of lollygagging. I don't know.
The thing that I take into consideration with it is they play so well in the first half. They play so good to close out the first half that there's not a lot of things that Malone can discuss or talk to them about, as opposed to the opposing team. They get to go through, these are the things that you did not do well. Jamal Murray was very hot in the first quarter. Let's try to slow him down. And they do every single time. Then the second unit comes in and they play exceptionally well. You have things that you have to work on. Then let's try to get Gary Harris moving. Today they didn't have Gary Harris, so that played into that third quarter. But there's so many things that the other team gets to talk about that Malone or the Nuggets don't. So I think that it just becomes easier for teams to adjust to the Nuggets, but then the Nuggets don't have to do as many adjustments because you will be talking about past games.
Kale, do we have any super chat questions or no?
There's a couple of super chats.
We can get to those now because, guys, surprise, surprise, Nikola Jokic post-game workout still not at the podium. So Harrison Wind waiting a little. We love that he's doing the post-game workouts. We love it.
We do.
And he's not doing this specifically to be mean to the media, I don't think.
I can't follow you there.
You think he's doing this honestly?
He's like, I know that the time frame's going to be like.
It's funny. Thankfully, our guy Harrison doesn't have a deadline. I'm such a nice boss. You can attest to this. I'm such a nice boss. I'm not like, you got to be in. But like the Denver Post or some of these guys, they do have like 20 minutes to get your gamer in. Like Mike Singer's always sitting there like
stressing out.
I got 6 minutes to write my story and I need to
talk to those guys. It's like, let's just leave him.
I love the idea that the pettiness of Nikola Jokic should fuel him to be the MVP of the league, but he's like just works out to avoid you. And the ancillary benefit is he just gets jacked.
All right, we got some super chat questions. We're gonna get to them now. What do we got? Can somebody read that has better eyes than me?
Does that say 250?
Don't spoil this winning night with currency value.
Oh, okay.
That's not a question. We did have a question earlier from Eric asked.
That's not a question.
Who asked who's better, Jokic or Embiid?
Super chatted should get to be beyond.
Yeah, well,
okay, I got you. Yeah, and thank you so much for the super. Yeah,
we thank him.
Thanks for the super chat, John.
Never let Nikola Jokic down. Dude, I'm telling you, man. Like, I don't want to start anybody worrying about this because it's so far away. And I honestly think
you already did that once on the internet.
Yeah, and I already did it once. But I'm saying like that Arenado thing makes you think, and I'm just like, no, Yoke. Dude, if Yoke gave us 15 years in Denver, they will all be good. Every single one of them. He is such a gift. He is such a gift. I'm telling you, man.
He is an absolute gift to this city.
And I'm not. Comparison is the death of joy. Is that what? Yeah, and it's true. And like, I don't want to make it sound like watching Carmelo wasn't fun or watching Iverson wasn't fun or this or that. But I'm telling you, man. Like Jokic just on a night to night basis. Every single night to me is like watching like my favorite band or watching a favorite movie, but with something different about it each time. It's just every single one is like. Dude. This is awesome.
We keep like coming here to watch games all the time, and it takes up a pretty large percentage of my life.
It is a lot of my life.
And it's amazing. I wouldn't do like if I was not doing this, I would be doing this, but just at home.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
I would be in the comments super chatting you guys.
I'd be like, drink some Rocky, you goddamn losers, just like you guys are, which we will. But it is just it's such a treat. It just lightens my mood. It lifts my spirits. I love watching him play. Like I was in the worst possible headspace as far as Denver sports were concerned.
I love this one from Eno. I think it says Eno there. So super chatting because I got 50 on Joker MVP before the season at plus 3,400, and he's now plus 500. So I'm giving y'all some because you started the notion. Oh hell yeah, I love that. First of all,
do you have a buyout? Do you have a buyout?
But here's the thing: the buyouts are going to start tonight. Tomorrow's buyout. Tomorrow's buyout. Yeah. Hold. I love
Diamond Hands.
Dude, I'm telling you, we should start this. We should start this because
depends how much he has it for, though.
Everybody's going to start getting these buyouts right now for Jokic, and after tonight's 47 piece, and it wasn't on national television, but it did. Everybody that was watching basketball was watching this game tonight because it was the one on. I'm telling you, guys, hold. Keep holding. They're going to offer you, I'm guessing on a $50 buy-in at $3,400, they're probably going to offer you $150 tomorrow. They're going to offer you.
This one's right at vote for big market.
Yeah, for me, probably having a rough day as known Jokic hater. I made so much money off Jokic today because I believe in him and I love him deeply.
Jokic again?
I really hate the way this guy is the best player in the league. It's killing me. Thank you, David. I appreciate it.
I'm telling you, hold. I like it. Hold the Joker bet, man. Like, he's not stopping. I mean, he went through a little slump. Like we were talking about, like we'll see if it keeps going. It's not a slump anymore. It's over. It's like
this is who he is.
This is who he is.
Gazi, thank you.
Big.
Thank you, Gazi.
Yeah, that's right,
baby.
Do you guys? Who is better, Jokic or Gobert?
Eric, thank you for the alley-oop to end all.
Well, let's see. If we're talking defensively, it's a question because Jokic gets a lot of steals.
That's right.
You know, like
it's pretty close defensively.
And like I don't know, I saw the defense tonight. It didn't seem to be very effective. I mean,
I would say it was ineffective. I would also say Gobert is better because I've learned you're only able to measure players by how much they make, which was why Paul Millsap was bad previously.
Right, that's right.
Gobert is a better player than Jokic because he is a super max player. Suck on that, you Jazz fans.
Sam, apparently Adam drinks like his sister.
Facts.
I'm assuming is.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm not a drinker.
Quite a drinker.
I'm not a drinker, so it's all right.
Light
I'm a bad
beer,
drinker.
Bad shot
light beers. Yep, light beers. Is that? Did we get through them? I'm still waiting on Harrison. Harrison says 5 minutes.
Is Harrison lifting weights?
That would explain a lot.
Coming in just absolutely.
He just comes in more handsome. Like,
I'm like, dude, the Peloton doesn't help your biceps. What's going on here?
You're doing something else.
Harrison's the new Marlowe. You know what?
Ooh,
the new Marlowe.
I like that.
Yeah.
Are we ready to call Denver and Utah right?
Yes,
of course.
Yes. One of the best ones in the NBA.
It was a rivalry when Denver
baby.
came. It was a rivalry going into the playoffs last year, but it was especially a rivalry after the 3-1 comeback. That solidified it. I'm sorry, like
no question.
People think of rivalry in that traditional sense of like the 70s Steelers hated and stabbed a guy because they hated him. So like, no, it's not like that anymore.
That's coming. That's coming.
It might be coming, yeah.
The fans haven't killed each other
Utah
yet.
and Denver are
It's
really
we've
like
been stuck in our homes.
Utah and Denver are kind of or Colorado and Utah are like
you're describing literal
same
crime.
place.
they just one state flows into the other. They're both gorgeous states. Like they're actually super chill.
Share the mountains.
Yeah, they're good states.
Do we want to hit our second break before Harrison?
When I'm done talking, yes, absolutely. What the hell was that?
Cam.
What was that?
Cam.
Super interrupted.
Kill, you know when PJ Dozier chucks up an like a 3 with no one in rebounding position?
PJ Dozier just called a timeout while Jokic was backing down Gobert.
how miserable would you be if you had to cheer for Gobert every game?
Dude, I
Please
say this
discuss
all the
how
time.
terrible he is.
Dude, I swear to God, Jazz fans are only pretending to be excited about screen assists. There's no way anybody is actually like, you know what, though? This is a real impact. And it is a real impactful thing. It's just nobody's excited about it.
Yeah, I know. When we were carrying water for like Wilson Chandler or whatever, we're just like, he's incredible. And then later on, you're like, he had his flaws.
It'd be more like if we were like, you know, those Euro fouls Jokic gives really stop fast breaks. He's actually the best in the NBA at fouling in the backcourt. If you look at Denver's fast break prevention,
those are called screen blocks.
What people don't realize about Hartenstein's 5 minutes per game when he runs into guys out there.
Yo,
Gobert, like he gets saved from the Utah wins.
Gobert, I love it.
Gerber,
baby
fool. But he gets saved by Utah.
I did not ask for this. Did somebody pay for this?
Oh yes.
Eric.
Yeah, no. We've been getting relentlessly.
I'll take it.
Really?
Yep.
You'll take mine?
Yeah,
Hey!
I got you.
Such a baby.
But yeah, back to what I was
Talking
saying.
about baby food.
Actually, I'll
Utah's
take one,
winning
but I
is
need my
why
chaser.
Gobert is like doing so well.
That's true.
If they started losing, he would just have such a big fall. It's like when Draymond Green, when the Warriors were winning every single time, everybody loved Draymond. He was one of the best players in the league. As soon as they lost a year, it was down.
I won't hear Nitty Draymond slander.
It's not slander. That's just what it is. Like, he's not viewed as the same player anymore because they're not winning as many games. As soon as they had their losing years, when we stopped looking at Draymond as one of the best players in the entire league.
We're getting way ahead of ourselves, but there is a universe in where Denver and Utah match up. Denver beats him, and the Utah Jazz are just like, we have to trade him. Like, I'm sorry, this is not the path to success.
Yeah, but then he's in that category of players where he'd like you could literally only trade him for like John Wall or
right.
Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook.
Oh my God. Can you imagine if it just completely tanks the entire rebuild? All right, we'll hit our last break. Harrison Wind on the other side right now, talking to Jokic, asking him all those great questions. But first, we gotta.
Zavelli.
I don't know who bought this for us. Can you shout out whoever? Eric. Eric.
This was purchased by a myriad of folks, but mainly it was yelled at us by a lot of people.
To the commenters.
Yes, to the comments.
I didn't plan on drinking on a Sunday. I'll be honest with you.
Well, folks, time and time again, the one thing that will protect you against economic downturns is a holistic education that allows you to adapt into varying careers. Go and build your toolbox at MSU. Look, right now, it's all about that balance of safety and convenience. A lot of folks are having to choose. A lot of folks are having to make sacrifices. You do not have to sacrifice your education. You do not have to choose with MSU Denver Online. You can bring that to your home, to your living room. MSU Denver Online's been doing the online education for years. This isn't some quick reaction to the events of the world. They know what this is.
Yeah.
This is not a lazy experience. They know how to get you prepared for the real world. So check out MSU Denver Online today. Strava Craft Coffee, I can't find the read, but I think I know this one.
Oh, you know all about Strava
CBD
Craft,
infused coffee, what does that mean? Well, it's not going to get you high like weed will, but you will notice some effects of this CBD. For example,
which is not a cut.
It's going to take a knock off some of that, the edge of some of that anxiety. Should help with some of your IBS. Shout out my fellow IBS sufferers. Maybe some joint pain. It's the best way to start your day. I need coffee in my life as a multimedia journalist person. Yeah. And but look, I get anxious, and with Strava Craft Coffee, not so much. So you can order their CBD infused coffee. You can use code DNVR20 to save 20% off a one-time package. Or you can sign up for their subscription service. And you can get it every 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 weeks. You can choose what flavor, what the dosage is. Check out Strava Craft Coffee. Use code DNVR20.
Dude, it's true though. Like, Vogt definitely needs to have the edge taken off. Sometimes he's like, can't find the right Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, my life's hard.
Gary Harris. He's like,
Guys, can I tell you the greatest tweet somebody just forwarded it to me from a Jazz fan. 2020, Utah Jazz tank to get Denver in the playoffs. 2021, Utah Jazz tank to avoid Denver in the playoffs. We're there, baby. We're there.
We just played the number one team in the NBA. The number one team in the NBA with 11 games in a row. Unstoppable. On a roll that couldn't be knocked off. We just beat the ever-loving shit out of them. It was incredible. Let's go. Feel good about this one, baby, like I am.
I do wonder how often, you're on a winning streak. Does it end gracefully, or do you just get the brakes beat off of you?
Not usually.
This?
You don't usually get the brakes beat off you though. But right. I mean, if you do, it's like a second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about them fighting back is if it's the Nuggets, because they only lost, I guess, by 13, but they cut it. What was the closest it got? Do you remember?
9, I think.
9
right? In the
to
second
single
half.
digits.
Yeah.
You cut it to 9, but then it balloons back up to
I think.
20 or 22 or something like that, and then you close it to 12 or whatever it was at the end. If you're a Nuggets fan, you watch. If things were flipped, do you feel good about it? Because I feel like it only feels less good for Denver fans, but still great.
Oh.
But I think if you're Utah, you're like, I mean, we kind of got it close, but we really just got murdered.
Yeah, but you're also probably going, we just won 11 in a row, and Denver just had an outlier shooting game.
That's true.
I mean,
That's true.
I'm sure they're not too
Jokic
excited.
would never go for 47 against Gobert again, they're saying to themselves. No, they're not saying that at all. Is there a stiff breeze coming in? Thank God. I can't wait. This is going to be a very exciting edition of wind chimes, or what do we call this? Oh, it's just we're just
the man with the wind in his hair.
Look how bright that billboard is in the back. There it is. Harrison, how are you, buddy?
Whoosh.
Hey guys, doing well. Good to see you guys.
So Jokic, I guess, had to get a post game workout in. Like, is he just on an adrenaline rush?
Of course he had to get the post-game lift. I mean, especially after you go for 47, like the first thing that you want to do is just go crank out a lift, right? It's
Yeah.
the first thing you want to do.
So how was the crowd tonight? Were they really were they going crazy for this one?
It's unbelievable, guys. Like, I don't know if it's because I haven't been here in a week. They had that long road trip, and I haven't been in Ball Arena in a while, but I know I've talked about how the music, the in-game soundtrack is just turned up to a ridiculously high level. It seemed even louder today.
Oh, man.
Harrison aged.
It was turned
20
up
years
another
this
couple
week.
levels today. It was ridiculous. But
I'm never going to the arena. I can't handle that. I'm old.
Adam is way too washed for the ball.
Dude, I listen to like such gentle music at such a low pace so I could hear traffic when I'm in the car.
The hardest music
he
Adam
ready?
the hardest music Adam listens to is the funky music to start off this.
It's true. It's true. It's good music. All right, so let's take us into the post-game commentary here. Harrison, what did Michael Malone have to say?
yeah, we got a lot to get to.
Okay.
Will Barton with some fire quotes.
Was he
about
preaching
Nikola
tonight?
Jokic. He was preaching. He was preaching to everybody. But let's start with Malone, who managed to throw, this was a little unexpected, managed to throw a little jab at Kyrie Irving in his post-game comments.
Dude, you might have been on.
Dude, everyone thinks I'm an idiot because I talk like a moron and I laugh at everything, but I'm
'Cause I
right
present
about
like
so many things.
You are right. This is everybody thinks you're a genius, Eric. Like an idiot savant or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
All right, so what's the jab? I want to hear this.
So I don't know if the TV camera caught it, but when Michael Malone calls that timeout with Jokic at 47 points, Jamal Murray's dribbling the ball to the floor and kind of chucks it at Malone in a super playful fashion, saying, "What, you call a timeout and sub him out so he can't get to 50?" And then Michael Malone was asked about that post-game, and he said, quote, "The last time Jamal scored 48, someone else chucked the ball." Obviously referencing when Kyrie
Wow.
Irving chucked the ball into the crowd when Jamal had 48 against the Celtics 2 years ago.
Which, remember, he was doing that to protect the integrity of the game.
Right. The ball deserved to go into the crowd
That's
that
right.
night, as I remember Kyrie putting it.
Man, that's great stuff. We thought earlier this year that Malone was referencing it in New York when he said something about what was the barb?
It was after the game, people were like, who is Malone talking about when he said he was upset that
Not everyone
gets to go see their families because blah, blah, blah. And we were like, was he taking a shot at Gary or MPJ? And I was like, no. He's talking about Kyrie, who just went to a party with his family and then had to be quarantined and missed several weeks.
So
He doesn't like Kyrie.
Malone
Not a
versus
Kyrie
Kyrie, a real battle. Okay, we're making this up. We don't know.
Well, we don't know anything.
What else from Malone?
So a lot of questions about just, did Nikola know he had 47? Was he going for 50? Malone said he was oblivious to the fact Nikola had 47. I don't know how much I can believe that. I've got to think he had some idea that he was approaching a career high. And then Malone, he had some great things to say about Facu tonight.
About who?
Obviously, Facu Campazzo. Heard
Okay.
of him? Nuggets point guard. Tough
May have heard of
first half for Facu tonight, but he played some big minutes, I thought, in the second half. And obviously, with no Gary Harris, who got hurt tonight. I'm not sure how long he'll be out, but I've got to think he'll miss a game or two at least. No PJ Dozier. The responsibility kind of fell on Facu to carry his weight in that second half, and I thought he played some big minutes. And of course, he had that air ball, and then came back with a made three, some other big plays down the stretch. And Malone said that Facu had some big cojones tonight.
Nice.
Malone is so good. You were talking about the East Coast. Everybody has to be a little sharper. Malone is like first team all sharp. Like he just has it on the. It comes fast to him.
He's going to talk his way into the upper echelon of coaches. Post game routines.
Did he say cojones?
Was there an update on Gary Harris at all, or just an explanation about what it is that happened?
No, we didn't get one. It was interesting though. He left the game, I think, in pretty much like his standard substitution in the first quarter,
right,
and then went to the locker room. And then we never saw him again, and he was ruled out at halftime. So we'll see. I mean, the adductor thing with Gary, it's a left adductor, which is what his injury is right now. That's scary. The lower body injuries with him are scary. He obviously missed time last year with the right adductor, so not good there. And he wasn't a great rhythm, so rough timing.
Yeah, that is really rough timing. I'm sure we'll get an update before long. I would assume he's almost certainly out tomorrow. The Nuggets, man, the schedule, I don't want to blame this on the schedule. You never know. But, like, if you would have told me the Nuggets have a 5-game road trip that features overtime, then double overtime, and then a 1:30 start 36 hours after that road trip, I'd be like, yeah, that's where the injuries are going to happen. Let's be careful because that's the point. And so it sucks that this happened.
But here's the thing, like, this game showed me everything I needed to see about the Nuggets. Like, can they rise up to go up against the top team in the NBA when they're coming in on an 11-game win streak and destroy them? Like, yes, they can. So, you know, we may tumble over the next few. We may lose a few, but, like, don't worry about the Nuggets. We're going to get to the playoffs, and then this is what you can expect out of the Nuggets when things matter.
I think you're right about this. They were resilient last year. That's why they won 3-1 2 times in a row. It's why they were so good in the clutch. It's why they had won the 7. They were resilient. And early on this season, we hadn't seen that resiliency.
Nope.
But over the last 10 games or so, we've started to see it again. And tonight was like, boom, that's it. Vintage,
almost as though they're
Nuggets.
Back?
Almost as if they're back. Anything else from Malone, their win?
Yeah, definitely some other stuff from Malone. I just want to say one more thing on the schedule, like you were talking about. The Nuggets had to be at the arena at 11 p.m. last night for COVID testing. And then when I came in here, it said on the Jumbotron that they had to be back here at 6 a.m. this morning for testing for the 1:30 start.
This doesn't make sense, man. Like, they really... everything you can do to try to, like, take Denver out of this game, and they still step up. It's insane. Although this tells me we hear so much about sleep and how important it is. Maybe not. Maybe not.
I slept like 11 minutes last night, and I've never been better.
That is crazy, though. I had seen something come through on Twitter about that, and that's just absolutely insane. We don't realize it's not just that people sometimes say pro athletes, all they do. What do you mean they can't play a game? Like, dude, there's so many other things that go into this. And
I'm tired. I'd like to go to sleep like another human.
Yeah.
Keep it coming, Win.
Let me get to what Will Barton had to say after this one, because he had some fire quotes on Nikola Jokic. He was talking about just defenses guarding him lately and really overall this season. He said, quote, "There's really nothing they can do. The guy really has no flaws on offense. He has no weaknesses. To be honest, it's really up to him every night."
That's fire.
Jokic with Will Barton's mentality, maybe a lesser player, but definitely a better scorer. He's
probably the coolest.
He's
player.
averaging 50 points a game. Yes.
Yeah.
His mentality.
But I mean, it's really true. It's really true. He's seen more single coverage, I think, than really he ever has over a prolonged stretch during the regular season. Teams aren't doubling him as much, particularly at the start of games, and he's just taking advantage, because if you do double him, he's going to finish with 18 assists. Right. You guard him one-on-one, he's going to score 47 points. So there's no way to guard him. He's unguardable. So it's wild.
MVP stuff from him right now. What else we got? Yeah, I know Barton has another one.
Let me see here. Yeah, Barton, he says he told Jokic to go for 50 right before he was subbed out. And then Will goes, quote, he doesn't really care about that stuff, though. And then Barton on Facu, he says he told Facu right after the game that, quote, you closed the game out for us. He thought Facu was huge down the stretch today.
I mean, he was right. That was a very accurate. Argentina slowly coming around to Barton now after that quote.
Probably not.
Probably
International
not,
relations.
It's not that bad.
He's not that bad, Barton. Yeah, he knows a thing. You gotta love Barton though. You gotta love Thrill. Shouting out Jokic and Campazzo.
I think his teammates do.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the irony.
I want like one minute of Barton hype in my life, like a hype man.
Dude.
Like I want to like win a lottery or something where I get to have Will Barton be my hype man for a day. Just follow me around and be like, yo, I don't care what they're saying. You can get a refill of that Coke. You do it, King. You get it. I'll be like, I will Barton.
All right, what else we got, Harrison? Who else spoke?
So from Yoke, who's the only other guy we heard from, he was asked about going for 50. Did he know he was at 47? Did he know he was at his career high? He just pretty much said, I think the main thing is just to win the game. He did say, though, this was great. You guys will love this. Quote, I'm glad that I beat Mike Miller. I think his career high was 45. And it was.
I love that, man.
Was cognizant of Mike Miller's career high, which was 45.
That's great.
But not his own. Yeah.
Right.
That's so great, man. I wonder how much those guys still talk. We got to get Mike on the show, man. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to get him on the show.
I would say, based on the fact that we know that they're two adult males, they never talk.
Yeah.
What else we got, Harrison?
So the only other interesting thing from Yoke, I thought, our guy Matt Moore asked him about just kind of the defenders that were thrown his way. Gobert, Favors. It seemed like Bogdanovic was even guarding him some.
Yeah.
Does he play differently when he's got bigger or smaller guys on him? And this was fascinating, I thought. Yoke said that when he has smaller players on him, he likes to play in the pick and roll. Because how he explained it, he doesn't think smaller guards just know how to guard big men in pick and rolls.
It's interesting.
Get confused. They don't know whether, to blitz, to double. They just don't have experience in those types of coverages guarding him. And so he said his strategy a lot of times when he's guarded by a smaller guy is just to put them in ball action like that and pick and rolls because it confuses the defense. Thought that was interesting.
I think that's really interesting because you remember Dwight back in the day. It was such a big deal for him to try to go down to the post, this or that, even though it wasn't true. And what I like about this is Jokic, you would always think, mouse in the house, you got to punish him. It's like manly. You got to outman them and throw your way around. And he's like, they actually suck worse at this thing, and so I'm going to do it whether I get credit for it or not. It's so fascinating. I mean, the number one trait Jokic has isn't his passing. It's not his shooting. It's not all this stuff. It's that he always wants to do whatever is like the smartest thing. And if it's picking, rolling a little guy, he'll do that. There's no ego to it that in that way at least, and it's so cool.
Yeah, that's all I got though. Great day though at Ball Arena here.
We were asking this question earlier, and I'm curious your thoughts. But Utah, they had a 11-game win streak going on. They had, they tanked for Denver. All these different things, and more importantly, they have Rudy Gobert, a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Do you think there's anything to when Gobert gets destroyed? The teammates look around and go like, this is a bad matchup for us. Like our best doesn't go well against their best. And psychologically, Denver has this meaningful edge. I think there's no question they have a little edge on them, but a meaningful edge against Utah.
No doubt. No doubt. And look, the Jazz have been great. They've been the hottest team in the league. Michael Malone said they're currently the best team in the league pregame. But I'll be very curious to see how the strategy that they play, the style that they play, translates to a playoff environment. Because I'm still taking Denver's two-man game and Jokic over what the Jazz have done, even across this 10-game win streak, any day of the week in a playoff setting.
Which two men? Because it's really more of a one-man game at this point.
Yeah,
he meant Campazzo and Jokic. Is what he meant.
Jokic and Barton.
Harrison, thanks so much for the reporting, man. That was great stuff.
Very windy.
Yeah, I'll be back here tomorrow.
We
see
just
you guys
lost him. I think you were saying something. Yeah, we'll see you later,
Peace,
buddy.
nerd.
Peace, nerd. Anything else? Anything we didn't get to, Kale? Is there any super chat or something we need to address before we get out? All right, we can get out of here this Sunday. Sun's just setting here in Denver and setting on the Jazz's win streak indeed as well.
No, the sun is
But the sun is rising.
The sun crashed on top of their win streak and burned them all.
I think they were eclipsed by
They were eclipsed.
a brighter star, a super star, if you will. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Thanks for everybody that came down to the bar today. This was a great day at the bar. It was a great day to be out. It's like 60 degrees in Denver today. Just every vibes on 100. I think we get another 60 degree day tomorrow.
Sweet.
Which I'm excited for, but also nervous about. So, but we'll just keep it
Big
moving.
picture concerning. Micro scale, pretty
Very
tight.
exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Don't forget, leave a like there. We got the haters, man. The haters are showing up.
I know,
we
dude.
had well over 1,000 for
Yo.
most of the show, so let's get that likes up.
Like
it
the
really
show,
helps us grow the show.
We are leveling up. We are getting to a new hater strategy.
Oh, I hit. Do you guys know today, last day of the month, or maybe yesterday was hit the mark. We got over 8,000 subscribers.
More followers, more problems, baby. More haters.
We'll see everybody tomorrow. Don't forget the pregame show.
Let's go.
Gonna be an interesting one.
Go Nugs.